Hey, it's Coach Reeves. Today we're going to do long division with polynomials. We're going to teach you how to divide polynomials, okay? All right, so here's the thing. We're going to go back in time, back to where you were in elementary school to remember the rules of how to divide, okay? So when we did long division, let's just say that we're going to say 3 divided into 42, okay? So what you were taught, you would say, we would come over here and we'd say that 3 goes into 4 one time. And then you would say, I'm going to ask you to go 1 times 3 is 3. And this is the language or the lingo I'm going to ask you to do. But I'm going to ask you to draw a line, change the sign. And it sounds very basic and elementary, but it's going to help you to not mess up your signs when we get down into the polynomials. So you're going to draw a line, change the sign, and you're going to say 4 minus 3 is 1. You bring down the 12, and then you would say, how many times will 3 go into 12? And you're going to say 4. Then you're going to say that is 12, and then you're going to draw a line, change the sign, and your remainder would be 0. Okay? That's how you did it in elementary school. And we're going to do it the exact same way right now. Okay? So look when we get into this. Okay? We're going to set up our problem. We're going to say that n minus 2 divided into, now here's the trick. You need to put this in order from your highest exponent to the lowest. We need to put it, it's called standard form, but it goes 3, 2, 1, and then your constant term. And we're going to do an example in the middle, or in a minute, that's going to have a gap, that you will not have a certain variable with an exponent. You'll be missing one of those. And we'll show you how to put in a 0 to hold that spot and to work the problem. But we're going to say n to the third minus 12n squared plus 10n plus 20. So our goal right now to work this problem is I want to make this first term, let me get this, I want to make this guy right here, I want to match that. I need to figure out what I need to multiply to make those look exactly the same so they can cancel. So if this is n to the first, what would you multiply this times to get to n to the third? And your answer would be n squared. Because n times n squared would give me n to the third. Got it? So once we figure out what we're going to multiply, I'm going to ask you to distribute or come backwards. You're going to multiply. Look here. You're going to multiply n to the second times n is going to give me n to the third. They have to match up or else we're picking the wrong thing to multiply by. And then you go n to the second times negative 2. And that's going to give me negative 2n squared. You see how we got that? You try to make this match this. And you figure out it's n squared. And then you go back and distribute and set this up. Now remember what we said in our elementary math. Now that we've finished multiplying, we're going to what? We're going to come over here and we're going to draw a line, and then we're going to do what? Change the signs. Draw a line, change the signs. This first term should always cancel or we're doing something incorrect. Okay? All right, so then we have negative 12, a positive 2 gives me a negative 10n squared. I bring down the next term, plus 10n. Now, what is my goal? My goal, I've got to figure out how to make this guy match that guy right there. What should I multiply times to make those match? And what you're going to tell me is I need to multiply times negative 10. And then how do I get n to match an n squared? I need another n. because n times n will give me n squared. So now we go backwards and we distribute backwards. We're going to say negative 10n times n, negative 10n times n is a negative 10n squared. Now again, if these aren't matching, we're doing something wrong. We've picked the wrong term to multiply times. And then we have negative 10 times a negative 2, which is a positive 20n. Remember what I asked you to do. We're through multiplying. So what do we need to do? We're going to draw a line and change both signs. Change the sign. Change the sign. That first term will cancel. It will always cancel. Sometimes the second term might cancel, but the first term, that first column, will always knock each other out. Okay? I have a positive 10. I have a negative 20, which gives me a negative 10n. I bring down my plus 20. Okay, remember what we asked you to do now. We're going to try to get this guy. We want to get that guy to match that right here. We want to match those two terms. So what do I need to multiply? I need to multiply by a negative 10. Let me get to the blue. We multiply by a negative 10 because negative 10 times n is a negative 10n. Good. So we go negative 10n, and then negative 10 times a negative 2 is a positive 20. When we get through multiplying, we draw a line, we change both signs. Negative 10, positive 10 cancels. Positive 20, negative 20 cancels, leaves me with no remainder. It is very possible to get a remainder, and we'll do one that does in just a second. But this is my final answer. N squared minus 10n minus 10. No remainder. All right, let's try one more. This one's a little scrambled, so we have to write it correctly. So we're going to say, I like the variable in front. So we're going to say x plus 1 divided into, where's the highest exponent? Right there, x to the third. So we're going to say 2x to the third. Here's the next one, minus 8x squared. Our next one is minus 4x plus 6. That's a positive 6. Everybody okay how we rearranged it? All right, now we're in good shape. We can start the problem. My goal is to make this first guy match that guy right there. I need to make it match. So I'm going to multiply times 2. And I need to go from x to x to the third, so I need an x squared. And so remember now, we're going to distribute backwards. We're going to distribute here, and we're going to distribute here. So 2x squared times x, 2x to the third. 2x squared times 1 is a positive 2x squared. We're through multiplying. So what are we going to do when we get through multiplying? We're going to draw a line. We're going to change both signs. Change them both. First column will cancel. Negative 8 minus 2 is a negative 10 x squared. Bring down your next term. Minus 4x. Now, remember, we want this to match that. So we're going to multiply times negative 10. And I'm going to have to go x times x to get to x squared. I distribute backwards. Let me go ahead and change colors. I distribute backwards and I say negative 10x times x is a negative 10x squared. Negative 10x times 1 is a negative 10x. When we're finished, draw a line, change both signs. You have to change both signs. This will cancel. A negative 4 and a positive 10 leave me with a positive 6x. Bring down the plus 6. I want to make this match that. So I need to get that, and we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply times a positive 6. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 1 is 6. We're through multiplying. When you get through multiplying, draw a line, change both signs. This will cancel, this will cancel. There's no remainder. This is our final answer right here. Okay? All right, let's go to another one. Okay, so we're going to go x minus 6 divided into, here's x to the third, there's your x to the second, but I don't have x to the first. It's missing. So what we need to do is put in a 0 to hold that spot. So we're going to put in plus 0x to the first. You cannot skip. You need to put that 0 in there to hold the spot. Especially what we're going to do with our next concept, but you cannot leave a gap. You need to put that 0 there. Okay? And we have minus 7. All right, so now, what do we want to do? I want to make this first letter match that first term. We need to make those match. So we're going to multiply times x squared. And that will give me x to the third. X to the second times negative 6 is a negative 6x squared. X squared times negative 6 is a negative 6x squared. What do we do when we get through multiplying? We're going to draw a line. We're going to change both signs. This is going to cancel. This cancels. That's 0x. That's nothing. It didn't exist. We just put a 0 to hold the spot. So what is left? What is left is a negative 7. I can't make this x match that. So we're done. This is my remainder. That's my remainder. So how do I write my answer when I do have a remainder? I would say x squared. And what do we have? We have a negative 7 over x minus 6. That's how you're going to write your remainder. Some people put a plus sign in between. You don't really need a plus sign, just put your remainder, your sign. Why does it write like this? Well, remember, what if you had this? 3 into 7. 3 goes into 7 2 times. So we'd go 2 times 3 is 6. Draw a line, change the sign, you have a 1 as your remainder. And so you would write your answer as 2 1/3. Just like you did in elementary, you take your remainder and put it over your divisor. Same thing here. You're going to take your remainder and you're going to put it over your divisor. Same concept. Okay? One more example. This one has a coefficient in front. Same concept. You're okay. You're going to see if they can match. All right? So we're going to say 10m minus 8 divided into, now we're scrambled. Look, our exponents are not in the right order. So we're going to say 10m to the 4th plus 12m to the 3rd minus 26m squared minus 2m. I'm going to put a 0 at the back end because I don't have a number. I don't have a constant at the back end. Okay? So my goal is to make this term match that term. Numerically, the coefficients are the same. I just need an m to the third. So when I multiply, that will give me 10m to the fourth. And when I multiply, that will give me negative 8m to the third. Now we're going to draw a line. We're going to change the signs. That's a plus. That's going to cancel. I have 12 plus 8 is 20 m to the third. I bring down my minus 26m squared. I want this to match that. So we're going to multiply times a positive 2. I need to get m to the third. So I need an m squared. And so that gives me 20m to the third. 2 times negative 8 is a negative 16m squared. Now we're finished. So we're going to draw a line. Let's try this black. We're going to draw a line. We're going to change the sign. This is going to cancel. I have a negative 26 and a positive 16. That's going to leave me with a negative 10m squared minus 2m. Let me change here real quick. I want this to match that. So I'm going to multiply times a negative. I need to get to m squared. So I'm going to multiply times m. Now you can put it as 1m or just an m. That will give me negative 10m squared. Negative m times negative 8 is a positive 8m. We're drawing a line. We're changing both signs. This cancels. Negative 2 and a negative 8 is a negative 10m plus 0. I need those to match. They're close, but I'm going to multiply times negative 1. Because negative 1 times 10m is going to give us a negative 10m. Negative 1 times negative 8 is a positive 8. We're going to draw a line. We're going to change both signs. Cancel. That's going to leave me with the negative 8. My remainder is a negative 8. So what are we going to do? There's my answer. We're going to take our remainder of negative 8 and we're going to put it over our divisor of 10m minus 8. And there is our answer right there. Takes a few steps. And there's so many steps that if you don't pay attention to your signs and you don't change both signs and you don't pay attention to adding and subtracting, if you get in too big of a hurry, you can mess up the entire problem. Okay? So go slow. It's not a hard concept. Just go through the process. All right? If you have any questions, just contact us. Good luck.